Hello, welcome to my channel. I've picked up a copy of the vintage Doctor Who model kit, and inside it contains 4 cardboard models. They're relatively basic and straightforward to make. I should basically push them out and clip them together. I have made some of these kits before on the channel. They're cheap, fairly straightforward to make, but the quality is not the best. So it's safe to say that they're designed for kids, and this was first released during the second year of the relaunch. So we get to see the modern version of K9 and Cyberman for the first time. So let's have a quick look at the instructions. They're all in full colour and very clearly laid out. It recommends starting with K9 as apparently it's the easiest one to make, as it's only going to take up 4 pages and 11 steps. All his parts are printed on 3 A4 sheets. Right, so the first step is start punching out the pieces. You don't want to get too far ahead, otherwise you'll lose track of the numbers. But it's good to examine each piece, so that way you know where all the folds are and the tabs. And on this piece there are some bits that need punching out, so I find that the craft knife is a convenient size for that. And it's just a matter of starting with the assembly. The main body and the sides are one piece, and then the front and the back need attaching separately. And then lastly, I can attach the underside. This is still just the prepping stage, as everything is still 2-dimensional. So after this, we have to fold everything in on itself, which is a very long and fiddly process. As what tends to happen is, you pop one piece in, another piece pops out. But eventually, after much perseverance, you'll get a body like this. Next, I need to make the neck. This is rolled up and pushed into the slots at the front. We just need to make sure that it's sloping upwards. After that, we need to add a curve to this long piece, as this will be turned into the dog collar. This just slots on loose over the neck, and it also hides the gaps underneath. Then we have the head to assemble. This is quite a large piece, but basically folds in on itself. It is also very fiddly because of its size. We must persevere. Once the last piece is slotted in, it should look like this. You'll know you've done it right because nothing springs back open. And now that can be slotted onto the neck piece. You can see there are upper and lower tabs to wiggle into place. We're now close to completion. There's a control box for his back. This forms a simple box and slots into place without any resistance. There's a pair of ears to slot into the top of his head. You just need to make sure they both face the same way. And then there's the final piece to add, which is the tail, and that's this one completed. This version of K9 we've just built is Mark III and was made by the Doctor. The original was made by Professor Marius in the year 5000. After many adventures together, the original K9 decided to stay on the Doctor's home planet of Gallifrey. The second item to build is the TARDIS. Again, all the information is contained on 4 pages, but this time there's only 9 steps, and all the printed pieces are now on 4 sheets of card. As before, they need punching out, and once again I use the craft knife to make some holes. I repeat the same process with the other pair of TARDIS walls, and then join them together, and this thing is huge. Well, they do say the TARDIS is big on the inside. Now let's make the outside much smaller, as I start to turn the thing into a box, a police box. Next, I work on the roof and the light. The latter just needs folding back and inserting into the grooves. Once everything's secure, the TARDIS top can be folded over, and this doubles over the light itself, and you can just see the top of the interior of the TARDIS as we do that. This can be put to one side for now, as we start work on the base. With this one, you fold down the edges all the way around the outside, and you end up with a raised platform. I realised that the tabs are too short and they kept popping out, so I just added a dollop of glue, and that should hopefully hold it all together. After that, the TARDIS floor should be facing upwards, and we can now insert it to the underside of the TARDIS. This step has a lot of tabs and a lot of slots, so it requires a little bit of patience. And with that done, we do pretty much the same thing with the roof. This huge diagonal slot is a nuisance. It keeps allowing everything to pop back out. Next, we have 4 pieces of corner trim to add. This not only neatens up the edges, but it also adds a little bit of strength. and once all 4 pieces are on, it should look something like this. Let's just hope yours isn't quite as wonky. And the final piece to add on is the police core box trim. This is made out of a single piece and it goes around the upper edge of the TARDIS. I found this to be quite a tight fit and I couldn't get all the tabs secured into place. So I'm going to skip past all the frustration and swearing and go straight to the end shots. The TARDIS is the Doctor's spaceship and it stands for Time and Relative Dimension in Space. Thanks to its chameleon circuit, it can blend in with any background. But once it's changed into a police core box, the circuit broke and it's remained the same ever since. The third item to build up is the Cyberman's head. This covers 6 pages and 10 steps. All the parts have been printed on 5 A4 sheets. As per usual, all the parts need popping out. I also fold back any areas which have been pre-creased. This will save time later. Also, some of the tabs need punching out, so it's best to get that over and done with. With the first piece I need to fold it so it's shaped like half a ball. I find that it's good to do a dry run before making any firm commitments. The inside of this head is quite accessible, so it's fairly easy to pull the tabs through and open up on the other side. And now we essentially repeat the same process with the back section. And now we have a skeleton frame of a helmet. Next we need to add the 4 corner pieces. Thankfully they've been marked up so I know which one goes where. Plus each piece is practically identical, so you're doing the same procedure 4 times. Once again you can see how much it helps getting your spare hand through the helmet and pulling the tabs through. I've got to effectively zip these 2 pieces together and this will create a kind of mohawk. It's also quite tricky to add in the curve as you go along. And once you get to the front end, it needs pushing down to cap the whole thing off. And all being well, it should look like this. Then it's just a matter of trying to attach it to the top of the helmet. I start off at the back first, and then slowly make my way up. And once again my spare hand is pulling all the tabs through. Then lastly, I tuck the tail in at the back to make it look a bit neater, as it's not clear on the instructions whether this piece should go over or under. The next piece is similar but smaller, and this will be placed on top of the head facing the opposite direction, but because of the curves it's just a little bit more fiddly. You can see here that it's been slotted into place, and it's just a matter of inserting the tabs. This piece alone adds another dimension to the model. We need to continue working down the side and give this guy some ears. I just need to fold this piece up into a box-like shape. You need to hold its shape until it can be inserted into the slots. And now we have a right ear. Naturally, the same process is repeated for the left ear. And here's how it's looking so far. We need to add another important piece to make the head quite rigid, and that's this cap on the underside. It's just a matter of going around all the edge and securing the tabs. The last one to slot into place is always the most difficult, and this is under the chin. Now we just need to give him a neck which will also act like a stand. This comes in 2 parts. The first part slots in at the back. Part 2 slots on top and continues the loop. That's nice and secure, there's not many pieces left. Next I slot into place the faceplate. This attaches just below the chin and just above his eyes. Plus there are 2 further slots on the top of his head, and they only just reach. Lastly, this guy needs his handles, which is also the nickname for one of the Cybermen in the show. Once the card has been folded up, it's inserted into a pair of slots at the top, as well as a pair of slots on the ear. That's it. That's the Cyberman's head completed. So let's go to the turntable and check out in all its glory. The Cybermen used to be human, but replaced their limbs and organs with artificial ones. Fitted with an emotional inhibitor, they stop caring about anything. They feel no emotion whatsoever except the will to survive. The final item to build is the Dalek. This covers a whopping 6 pages and has 14 steps to it, and all the parts come on 6 A4 sheets. So this is clearly the most complicated one to build. And yes, I've gone through it before, First step is to punch everything out, and that includes knocking out these pre-punched tabs. As with all walks of life, you start off at the bottom, and then slowly build your way up. Basically for this one, all the edges need doubling up and folding over themselves. Unfortunately some of the tabs are quite short, so I had to use a little bit of glue, and naturally I couldn't continue until that has dried. Then it was just a matter of connecting the front half and the back half of the main body, so that I can peg that onto the base. That part went together nice and easily. Next I need to put on a topper, and this will add a little bit of strength. As I've said before, it really does help if you can pull the tabs through rather than pushing. Next I fold the midsection around on itself, and then I need to fold the lower flaps inwards so that they too can be connected to the Dalek's lower half. And I won't lie to you, it gets really fiddly from this point, as you are limited to where you can get your hands in to help out. And then I fold around the neck grill, and this is secretly where the driver looks out of. This is first attached to a ring, and then that ring is attached to the main Dalek. I found myself using the tweezers a lot here to try and get the tab through those little slots. For the next step I need to slide on 5 rings. These will slot into place and it will end up all evenly spaced out. And I found it a nice chain to do something fairly easy at this late stage. Next I have the eye stalk and the headlights to assemble. And these consist of 2 pieces which are slotted together in the middle. So when you're looking down on them you can see an X pattern. Those are then inserted into the slots on the top of the Dalek head. It's advisable to use a hobby knife and widen those slots, otherwise the card will just crumple. The Dalek head is then folded into a dome, and then this is fastened onto the main body. I had an absolute nightmare trying to fit this section, so I cheated and just glued it. Just like the eye stalk, the Dalek weapons are formed from cross sections, and then those are put to one side for just a moment. First I need to fold and insert the arm sockets, and once again I've widened the slot for ease of use. Now all I need to do is slot in place the weapons. First I put on the sink plunger, then that's followed up by the gun. And that's it. All 4 model kits have been completed. So let's get the Dalek on the turntable and check it out. The Dalek is the Doctor's most recognisable enemy. They were created by a scientist called Davros. Their sole desire is to exterminate everyone and everything, especially the last of the Time Lords, the Doctor. There is just one more Doctor Who kit left to build up, and that's the interior of the TARDIS spaceship. This kit is quite large and will likely take quite a bit of time to build. But if you want to see it, let me know in the comment below and I'll see what I can do. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if I can do it, so can you.